All right, so this is a trade from Monday, April 18th. This is the Monday after Easter, so this was after a 3-day weekend. So I was hoping that there was going to be a lot of stuff to trade, or at least something really strong. There ended up really only being this one stock moving really well, CASA, which is good too because that means there's most everybody's going to be watching this one stock, so it should be moving pretty good. The only problem with this specific one is that it has this S here on the level two, and that S means that it's shortable. It's easy to borrow, so a lot of people could be shorting this, and that could be good or bad. This down here, the SSR on the bottom one, is short selling restriction, which again could be good or bad. But the shorting ones that are shortable, it's good if you can get a short squeeze out of it, which, if you don't know how shorting works, it's when you borrow shares, you sell them at a certain price, and then you're hoping that the price will go down. And then when you want to get out of the trade, you have to buy the shares back, and that's how you make money. So whenever you buy shares, it helps make the price go up. So if you can get a short squeeze, like for instance, if this was at like $6.15, and there's a lot of people who think that's not going to go any higher, they might be shorting there. So if it gets over that price, everyone's going to be buying their shares back to get out of the trade, which will then just make the price go up even higher. So that's kind of what a short squeeze is. So if that were going on, that would be beneficial to a long trader like me who's buying it, at a certain price. And then the way I would get out of the trade is to sell my shares. So I'd want to sell at that short squeeze and make profits. So you can kind of see right here, this is close to where I buy it. Right there, $6.20 is has a lot of resistance. So I figure if this number dwindles down, this 262, and it goes to like 150 and then lower, that means that this is getting bought up. And if it breaks through that, that could be the short squeeze that I'm hoping for, and maybe the price would come back up to $6.40. That would probably be another spot of resistance, and if it got through those, it could just keep going. So this is kind of why I bought it at this price here, thinking that it would go higher than 620. So I buy right there, but you can see it doesn't go over that. So it really has troubles at 620, and it never quite gets over that. I think it makes it to like 621. It doesn't quite get over that price. So maybe it wasn't the best buying point. I don't think that was necessarily a problem with this trade. The reason that I think that this might have been one of my worst trades is because the price ends up coming down here. So it did actually go up to 624. So I could have made a few cents on it maybe. But you can see if I scroll forward a little bit here, I don't remember where it was exactly. Somewhere in this range, it starts to have problems getting over $6.15. So I kind of noticed that it's slowly getting lower and lower resistance, which isn't a good thing for somebody who's long. You want to see the price keep moving up, not keep moving down. So I think right in this area here, you see it starts to have trouble there at 615. Doesn't quite ever make it back up to the 620 area, at least not for a little while here. So I probably should have sold at this point. I was kind of thinking, the 9 EMA is $6.10, so maybe it would keep bouncing off of that. On the 5 minute, it's not looking terrible. It could just be a 5 minute pullback. And with the pre-market high here is $6.04. So I was thinking it's possible that if it does get through the 9 EMA, which is 610, that it could still bounce off that $6 area, because $6 would be a spot of resistance or support at this point because it's above it, because it's the whole dollar, but also it's also where the pre-market high was. So it kind of works as a double support. So hoping that that would be the case. So when it goes below the 9 EMA, I probably should have sold it at that point as soon as it broke below that right now. And then in a few minutes here, you'll see, scroll forward a little bit. And actually, this is about where it's at. So here it goes even lower, and I probably should have sold it at that point because it actually falls a little bit further than this resistance here. I think it goes down to the $6 area. See, watch it for a second. See right there, it goes all the way down to 6. So I probably should have sold at this point, thinking, okay, it's really not doing what I wanted it to do. So this was a terrible trade as far as I'm concerned. It's at a 15-cent loss already, and I should have sold this like in this area at least, where it was only a 10-cent loss. It would have been a $50 loser, but I had about $600 in the account still, so it would have I would have still been above $500, and I would have been able to still use margin at that point. So moving forward just a little bit here, you can see this huge downward spike. So that's, oh man, this is terrible. So $6 or 40-cent loss at this point, and I'm thinking, okay, well, this is terrible. It's now below VWAP. I shouldn't have held it this long. I feel like an idiot. Um, yeah, I mean, there's really no excuse for this. I should have been out of this when it was at like a 9-cent loss. But at this point, with 40 cents, 30 to 40 cents, that's a lot of money, and that would put me well below the $500 mark, not to the $350 in my account. So it's not going to freeze my account at this point. But I wouldn't be able to trade with margin anymore, and that would make it really difficult to keep trading this account through April. So at this point, I'm kind of thinking my back's against the wall. A lot of times these stocks do like to bounce back up after a big drop. So I'm hopeful that that's what's going to happen, but you really shouldn't, again, be trading on hopes and dreams. I think I've even mentioned that in a previous video. So uh, like I've said before, I'm a pretty terrible trader, so I wouldn't do the things that I do. Obviously, it's not the best strategy. But in this case, it ends up somewhat working out for me. If I scroll forward a little bit here, let's see here. You can see where it's really just been bouncing in this area, and it didn't really drop too far below 580. But you can see here it starts to come back up, so I get hopeful again that it's going to go through $6, which is probably resistance again. You can see how many were there, but how quickly it goes once it gets past $6, it really flies up. So 620 is our purchase price, and we just barely touched that again. So I had an opportunity to get out of this at this point and maybe not have a huge loss. But because it had bounced up, I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna do something here. But then you can see once it hit that resistance, it falls down to where it was, and even then it falls further. It goes even lower. So now I'm even in a worse position than I was when I was holding it through this consolidation area. So I'm like, oh man, I'm an idiot. I'm so dumb at this. I should have sold this back here. I should have sold it here. I should have sold it again here. So there's at least 3 points that I definitely should have sold this already. And because I didn't, I was, I guess, just being hopeful. I don't know what the word is. Really wanting this to work out. So I didn't sell it. Coming forward a little bit further here, you can see at about 19 minutes here, it's starting to curl up. It's starting to go a little bit higher from its low point here, $5.70. But it still has the 9 EMA, the 20 EMA, and the VWAP to get through. So as it does start to kind of get up to that point, it's really hitting resistance at $5.90. But you can see here where it gets through that, gets up to the $6 range, and $6 is going to be resistance then once it's through there. It's just a lot of resistance at this point. But you can see it gets just over $6, and then it really starts to move again. So then I'm like, okay, this is great. This is, on the 5 minute, it doesn't look terrible. It looks like it came down and then it's popping back up. So we'll see how this goes. So I just kind of keep holding it. If I go forward just a little bit further here, I want to say it's in this area. It really spikes up. So once it gets to that $6.20, and it kind of does what I was talking about with the short squeeze. So I'm not sure how long it takes here. I think it's right in this area. The price starts to move up. There you go. And see how fast that moved. Come back just a little bit. So right here it's at 607, kind of moves up to 610 area. I think it's a little bit of resistance right there. So then you see it just spikes right up. So I'm really quick with this because I'm using my hotkeys, so I'm kind of waiting for it to do something like this. So I had my finger on the sell button. As it came up, I sold on the ask. I think that's $6.38. And you can see also on this candle shows that it actually goes all the way up to $6.50. But I never saw it actually hit that on the level 2. So that's how fast it was moving, is it actually went all the way up to 650, but it never even showed those numbers on the level 2 there. So I sold on the ask at 638. So I actually made money on this after holding it for like 20 minutes. So $90 gross profit ends up being like 80 something in net profit. Let's go scroll to the end here so you can see the trade report. So $6.20 is where I bought it. I held it for like 20 minutes. It's terrible, but I was able to sell it for $6.38. So I did make the profit there, $90 gross. After fees and commissions, it's $83.50. So that does put the account at $683.34, which is quite a bit compared to our starting point of 530 something. But like I said, this is maybe the worst trade that I've done in April so far. It's also kind of the best trade that I've done in April so far because it's the biggest winner that I've had. But this should have been like a $250 loss, and I'm embarrassed, honestly, to even show it. But it's just the next day in trading. So, this is part of the things that you have to think about, I guess, when you're trading a small account or really trading at all is, you want to cut your losers early and hold on to your winners as long as you can, which is the thing that I've been trying to work on. So this was not a good progression for me. So definitely one of the worst trades I've done in April so far, but it did work out. I got really lucky. So that's part of trading too, I guess. Anyways, I hope you liked this review. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it.